Welcome to the second tutorial for Introduction to Social Psychology. As usual, I hope that you guys would put 1 hour or 2 hours aside for this tutorial. And then I hope that you learned a lot more from this second tutorial. Now, today we'll discuss about 2 topics. Topic 3 will discuss on the subjects of attribution, or self and identity, culture, and aspects of social knowledge. And for topic 4, we'll explain on the nature, the model, the structure, the functions, and the measurements of attitude. So we'll start with topic 3 first. Topic 3 is about social knowledge and the self. It looks more on who you are or how you define yourself in relation to yourself or in relation to the society. Now, by the end of this topic 3, you should be able to, firstly, identify how people judge others' characteristics, motives, and intentions from the process of attribution. Secondly, you would describe how people determine whether others' behavior generates mainly from internal or external causes. Thirdly, you explain how people explain the causes of their own behavior and other people's behavior. Fourthly, you would discuss how the self guides the way we process information. And lastly, we'll describe how aspects of the self adjust one's behavior in response to external situations. So here on this slide, you notice that there are some of the terms that are related to psychology that's a bit not of normal people that would understand. So along the way, we'll discuss what are the definitions for these words, and then hopefully you'll learn from that. Now, social knowledge and the self. As an introduction, let's go through some of these questions first. The first one, how do you feel about yourself generally? I mean, it takes time to reflect about yourself. Do you feel yourself as someone who's confident, or someone who's a bit lack of self-esteem, or someone who is clever, or someone who's responsible, or someone who is not like or against the law? So take some time and write down, how do you describe yourself? Next one, how do you feel about yourself in regards of the world? Hereby, the first question and the second question is different because the first question is asking just about yourself personally, without anyone's judgment. But the second one is look about how is it regards of the world. Are you a helpful person? Are you a helpful person, or do you like to manipulate person? Or are you the boss of the crowd, or you are just a follower of the crowd? So take some time to reflect on that too. Next one, how do you portray yourself to the world? We know that from chapter 1, we learned about the role scheme. I mean, everyone plays a role. The role of a daughter, the role of a student. So how do you portray yourself as to the world? Is it the role of a businessman, or the role of a housewife, or the role of, an employee? So this actually affects how you behave and how you think and how you communicate with other people. The last one, has it changed since you were young until who you are today? I mean, look back when you were young, about 5, 6, 7 years old, and then look again to when you are 15, 16, 17 years old, and then right now, or 20 plus, or 30 plus, or 40 plus, or 50 plus, or 60 plus. So take some time and just try to evaluate how have you changed. I mean, how have you changed since all this while? I'm sure people change. People do change. Because we are constantly in an environment that we received a lot of information, and that keeps changing our schema, or that keeps changing our role as we grow up. I mean, since young and until today, who you are today, I'm sure you have changed. Another question. What conclusions do you make towards everything around you? Is it positive note or a negative note? I mean, in general, how do you see yourself relates to the world? Do you see the world as a happy place, or a sad place, or a hopeful place, or a hopeless place? It goes the same with the country. How do you see this country? Or how do you see this neighborhood? I mean, different neighborhoods, they have different crime rates and different safety. So how do you see yourself, I mean, adapting to the world? I mean, or adapting to the place that you're living in? Now, in general, humans always need to find a reason for things that has happened. I mean, mainly physical phenomena or human behavior. So let's say, for example, if you read on a newspaper that someone wants to sell his car. So the first question, if you meet the owner of the car, you would ask the owner, why do you want to sell your car? Or you would ask, if you have met someone, you would ask a person, have you taken your lunch? Where do you come from? How do you come? So these are the questions that we keep constantly coming into our mind, and we hope to get answers, because there are many empty spaces between our minds that we need to make a conclusion around the surrounding, and also so that we know what's happening. We actually need to know what's happening. Especially physical phenomena. Why is this happening? Why is it raining constantly? Or why is there earthquake? Or why is there flood? Or why is it snow falling? Or some human behavior. Why did this student cheat or lie in the exam? Or why did this person suffering from anorexia? So these are some of the things that we hope to know. Because it's very difficult, we actually do not know. I mean, sometimes our friends would make hints toward ourselves, I mean, to you, and you would like to know what's wrong, what happened, where are you working, what do you do? So these are actually some of the normal questions that we ask ourselves. Now, most of which we use causal explanation. It means the cause and the effect. Our mind works in a very linear way. Linear in terms of it's very straight. So first we think of the cause and we think of the effect. So why this happened? It's because of this. So it's very straight. Now, attribution. How do we define attribution? Attribution, it's the process of understanding the causes of others' behavior. So schemas before, we look on how we defined or characterized, I mean, different things like the chairs or the table or the computer. I mean, attribute is we are mainly looking at the causes of others' behavior. Causes, why did this happen? Or is it because of this person's behavior? Or is it because of the situation? Now, does it comes to a conclusion to how you make a statement on the situation, society, or the person? So it is like a question, is it a definite wrong or right for some situation? Someone had an accident. What do we blame it on? Do we blame on the driver, or do we blame on the situation? Now, these are the things that sometimes there's no a definite right or there's no a definite wrong. It goes back to our mind. let's say in the case of the 15-year-old boy who was shot by the police. So how do we come to a conclusion? So right now they have a royal commission that's set up to evaluate, and they might come up with a final paper, a final finding. So these are some of the reasons. They'll take different informations and witnesses, and then they will come to conclusion to, is it because of the boy's behavior, or is it because of the police behavior, or is it because of just the situation that forces it to happen?